From the moment you craved respect, recognition, you exposed your weakness. You thought staying silent made you strong. You believed not defending yourself would command respect. You did exactly what the experts told you. Never defend yourself. Silence is power. But then, she left, said you were cold. Your boss called you irresponsible. Your team stopped listening. You weren't admired. You were dismissed, quietly. You thought you were using the strategy of the powerful? No. You were being removed from the game without anyone needing to strike. There's a hidden law in power. Only those with position can afford to stay silent. If you have no leverage and you stay quiet, you're not respected, you're discarded. Machiavelli understood this. He never told you to never explain blindly. He taught, silence only holds weight when you are the one holding the blade. And you hold nothing except the delusion, I'm doing the right thing. No, you are being played. You think you're controlling the narrative, but your silence is letting others write the story without you. Here's how to take the position back, how to turn your silence into a threat and make the entire room stop when you say nothing. You haven't realized you're losing because your failure is silent. You think power comes from withholding your voice, that silence is your impenetrable shield, an invisible steel wall no one can penetrate. You are mistaken. In the real world, the harsh world of sharp teeth and quiet knives, where the strong devour the weak without warning, silence is only power when others already fear you, when they already understand the latent power you can unleash at any moment. Without that fear, silence is not calmness, it is weakness. Think carefully about the nature of power and silence. A lion, king of the jungle, doesn't need to roar constantly to assert its supreme position. Why? Because every one of its roars has echoed with extreme terror, has ripped through the night and sowed fear into the hearts of all creatures. That fear has been established, deeply ingrained in the subconscious of others. Therefore, the lion's silence now contains a threat even greater than any roar. Its silence is not the absence of strength, but the containment of a potential power ready to erupt at any moment. It is a silence shaped by pre-existing authority. Conversely, a weak animal, if it remains silent, will simply be forgotten, considered easy prey, or worse, eliminated from the ecosystem without anyone knowing. Your silence, when not accompanied by established fear, is not the solid shield you imagine. It is an inviting vulnerability, a clear sign that you have nothing to say, nothing to fight back with, nothing to defend. It is an emptiness that others can easily exploit. Recall the times you believed you were demonstrating nobility by remaining silent. She yelled, she cried, she poured her anger and hurt onto you, but you didn't say a word. You maintained a terrifying composure, like an emotionless statue. You thought if you didn't react, she would calm down, would realize her mistake. But you were wrong. She walked away, carrying not just anger and disappointment, but also a feeling of abandonment, of being disregarded. Have you ever wondered what was truly going through her mind when you chose to remain so composed? She didn't see strength or nobility. She saw indifference, carelessness, a cold, untouchable wall. You let her write the ending to both your stories, without any resistance from your side, without any explanation or defense. You stayed silent in front of your boss when he made baseless accusations, when he assigned you responsibilities that weren't yours. He completely misunderstood your intentions and efforts. He didn't ask for clarification. He didn't give you a chance to explain. He made a cruel decision, a decision that excluded you, without you being part of it, without your input or opinion, without any recognition of your value. You missed a golden opportunity to shape the conversation, to defend your viewpoint, to assert your worth. And as a result, you were excluded from the decision-making process, considered voiceless, valueless, easily replaceable. You sat still in a conflict, trying to be patient, hoping your stillness would speak for itself, would prove your correctness and innocence. You believed your composure was proof of your confidence. But it didn't turn out as you wished, as you expected. Your silence only further confirmed their worst assumptions, that you had no defense because you had no strength, no significant stance, no will to fight. They saw a void, an emptiness, a passivity that they could easily fill with their own prejudices and accusations. Let's strip away the illusion ruthlessly. Silence isn't true strength. It's a vague ambiguity. Silence is like a foggy mirror, covered with mist, reflecting nothing clearly. It creates a vast space for speculation, misunderstanding, and rumors to flourish. You don't provide information, and they will create information for you. And ambiguity, in the absence of status or established power, is precisely weakness. A person without credibility, without influence, who exhibits ambiguity will be seen as indecisive, lacking backbone, or worse, as someone hiding something suspicious. You become untrustworthy. When the crowd doesn't know what you stand for, what side you're on, what your core principles or values are, they will assume you stand for nothing at all. You become a colorless, odorless, tasteless entity, easily overlooked, easily forgotten. True power is not in what you withhold, the things you hide, the secrets you don't reveal. True power is in what you control, the things you can shape, the messages you actively send. And if you don't control the true meaning of your silence, they will do it for you. They will assign it the meaning they desire, often the most negative and detrimental meanings for you, shaping how you are perceived in every situation. Every time you delude yourself into thinking you're being stoic or resilient, you might be broadcasting surrender, a hidden weakness. Every time you think you're calm and composed, they might see vacancy, a lack of will, or even fear. Every time you say nothing, make no move, others write your story for you, shaping your reputation, position, and destiny without your involvement. And you let them do it easily, without a word of protest, without any effort to reclaim control. The world does not pause to interpret your silence charitably, positively, or benevolently. The world is a fair and cruel courtroom where your absence, the absence of your voice, the absence of your explanation equates to guilt, to tacit acceptance. If you don't fill the silent void with clear intention, with a deliberate message, with a powerful declaration, someone will fill it with accusations, with negative judgments about you. Your silence is not a meaningless void, a place to rest. It is a vacuum that human nature, especially human psychology, always abhors and will try to fill at all costs. And they will fill it with the worst assumptions, the most unfavorable stories for you, the most malicious intentions. They won't wait for you. So accept this cruel truth. Your silence is not power. It is a terrifying vacuum. And nature, especially human nature, abhors a vacuum, always seeking to fill it. Humans tend to Silence is not passivity. Silence is a sharp blade, an extremely dangerous weapon. It must be drawn with clear purpose, timed with brutal decisiveness, and sheathed with absolute precision. Every time you use it, there must be a clear reason and goal. For your silence to become your sharpest weapon, it cannot be passive, it cannot be neglect. It must be a deliberate act, a meticulously calculated strategy, timed to the second. Every moment you remain silent must convey a message more powerful than 1,000 words, a message that cannot be ignored or misunderstood. This requires you to control not only what you say, but also what you don't say, and especially how you express that unspoken presence. This is no longer about keeping secrets. It's about creating an impression. Therefore, here's what you need to do to transform silence from a burden into power, from invisibility into dominance. 1. Frame your silence, always. If you intend to stay silent, let the room know why. Don't let them make negative assumptions. This transforms your silence from a vague, worrying void into a meaningful act, a specific, clear message that needs no sound. When you frame your silence, you're not just silent because you have nothing to say. You're sending a clear message that this is a deliberate act, a meticulously calculated strategy, timed to the second. Every moment you remain silent must convey a message more powerful than 1,000 words, a message that cannot be ignored or misunderstood. This requires you to control not only what you say, but also what you don't say, and especially how you express that unspoken presence. This is no longer about keeping secrets. It's about creating an impression. Result: framed silence equals powerful presence. You are not invisible. You are an entity they must pay attention to, analyze, and be wary of. Danger: unexplained silence equals erasure. You become invisible, non-existent in their minds, easily dismissed without question. 2. Use eye contact as your weapon. Eye contact is not just the window to the soul. In power communication, it is the sharp tip of power. It can be a silent challenge, a quiet threat, or an assurance of your absolute control over the situation. When you maintain steady eye contact while remaining silent, you are not just looking at them, you are penetrating them, forcing them to confront your unspoken yet pressure-filled presence. This is a powerful psychological tactic, unsettling and creating insecurity. Result: silence must be a disruption, a powerful interruption, a shock, not a disappearance, a fading into nothingness, easily overlooked. 4. Speak in undeniable declarations, not weak defenses. The weak defend themselves, trying to justify their actions because they fear judgment, fear criticism. The strong declare, asserting their truth without needing anyone's approval or agreement. When you defend, you confirm that an accusation needs to be clarified, and you are reacting to an attack. This puts you in the position of the interrogated, the passive one, the weaker party. When you declare, you establish an unshakable truth without needing argument or proof. You place yourself in the position of the one with the right to decide, the proactive one, the one with the final say. Result: defensiveness invites attack, prompting opponents to delve deeper into your weaknesses, seeking to undermine you. Conversely, declarations build mystique, invulnerability, and an unshakable aura of power. 5. Withdraw intentionally, not retreat. Your silence must be an act of strategic withdrawal, a meticulously calculated move, not a pathetic surrender or fear. When you withdraw intentionally, you control the meaning of your absence. It's not that you're losing, afraid, or unable to cope. It's that you are executing a larger strategy, a move that others cannot see, a game that you are controlling from behind the scenes. Because the most dangerous thing in any room, in any relationship, is not the one shouting loudly, the one overtly causing trouble. It is the silent man who walks away without explaining, the calm woman who turns her back without a single justification, leaving behind a void full of questions, fear, and unanswered queries. You become that man or woman by commanding silence, not by cowardly hiding in it. You believed silence would make you mysterious, an unread book, but it made you invisible, a non-existent person, unnoticed, uncared for. You believed restraint was noble, a quality of class, but it became irrelevant, meaningless in their eyes, bringing you no benefit. True power does not reside in ignorant silence, a meaningless void. It lives in the fragile, tense space between certainty and fear. And whoever controls that space completely owns the room, owns the game, owns the minds of others. You once believed that silence would transform you into an indecipherable mystery, an object to be pursued, a goal everyone craved to discover. That was a dangerous illusion. The painful truth is, it only made you invisible, a faint ghost, easily replaceable. You thought that withholding everything, holding information tightly, would make them crave you more, force them to chase you, to seek you out, to decipher. But instead, they simply sought out others, those who were more transparent, easier to understand, those who didn't demand they expend effort deciphering a meaningless riddle. You confused restraint with nobility, thinking it was a quality of class. But in the ruthless world of power, meaningless restraint is merely indifference, utterly valueless, bringing you no benefit and even causing you to be discarded. It's not nobility, it's veiled weakness. Imagine your silence as a thick fog enveloping everything in uncertainty. The weak will get lost and disappear within it, leaving no trace, remembered by no one. But the strong, they don't disappear. They become the frightening shapes hidden deep within the fog, making others wary, making them tremble, making them wonder what lies hidden within, what will emerge from that fog. Your silence must be an approaching storm, a sign of potential destruction, not a harmless lull or a false peace. Furthermore, think of your presence not as noise, but as a cold, sharp blade pressed against the fabric of comfort and peace. That blade must never be forgotten. Even when sheathed safely in its scabbard, they must still feel its ominous outline, still know it's always there, ready to be drawn at any moment. Your presence, even in silence, must be a constant reminder of your latent power, of your ability to cause harm if necessary. You or the silent threat. You wanted to be respected for staying quiet, for showing composure, but you weren't feared, you weren't watched, you weren't decoded, you weren't valued. You were overlooked, dismissed, easily forgotten, like an inert object, an insignificant detail. And what's overlooked, unnoticed, is eliminated. No one remembers a name that doesn't make a sound, leave an impression, or have influence. Power is not about you being right or wrong, about morality or truth. Power is about you becoming the axis around which the entire room, the entire conversation, the entire relationship must revolve. Your silence, when used correctly, is gravity, but only if you have enough pull, enough influence to bend others to it, forcing them to pay attention, to speculate, to seek clarity, approval, or fear from you. A lion does not explain itself, does not need to justify its existence, but it does not go unnoticed or forgotten. Its overwhelming presence is enough. You are not here to explain. You are here to impose, so that your words, when you choose to speak, become undeniable commands, self-evident truths, final verdicts. This is the true measure of your power. If they don't ask what you're thinking, don't wonder about your silent calculations, you've already lost. You failed to create the necessary curiosity and tension to hold your position. If they don't change their demeanor, don't feel a shift in the atmosphere when you enter the room, you are not in control. You are just another invisible entity in the crowd, without weight, without influence. If they don't feel the threat, the latent pressure in your stillness, you're not silent, you're irrelevant, without weight, without meaning, easily overlooked. True silence in power is not merely the absence of sound, a meaningless void. It is the presence of dread, of deep insecurity, of fear-tinged respect. It is the pause that tightens the throats of those who dare challenge you, making them gulp. It is the gap where their false assumptions rot, where their lies crumble, losing all value. It is the void that whispers a cold warning, echoing deep within their minds. You should have listened while you had the chance. You should have shown respect while you could. You should have been cautious before it was too late. And when they finally beg for your voice, beg for your guidance or judgment, let them sit in the cold you've built, in the tension you've sown. Let them suffer the deafening echo of what they didn't hear, didn't understand, didn't appreciate when you were deliberately silent.